Success leaves clues. I've spent the past 6 years of my life literally obsessing over what makes certain people successful. I've read countless books, especially autobiographies and self-help books. I've watched countless videos just like this one. I've watched interviews, listened to podcasts, and just generally obsessively consumed information from people from all walks of life who I deem to be successful and that you would likely deem to be successful as well. People who are rich, people who have a lot of status, and people who are living the lives that they once envisioned for themselves. And throughout the years, I've noticed that between all of these people, there are a few common traits that are literally prerequisites to get to that point in life. Really, they're prerequisites even to get to the point of life that I've gotten to. Because if you watch my content, then, hey, maybe you think that I'm successful. And I'd like to think that I've accomplished a few things in my life, more than I ever thought I would at this age, for sure. So, in this video, I want to share what those character traits are. Because if you can just adopt even a couple of these character traits and apply them on a daily basis, your chance of being successful increases literally beyond any numerical value. That said, the first trait that all successful people have is a burning desire. If you've read Think and Grow Rich, a book by Napoleon Hill, one of the all-time classics in the self-help space, then you've heard about the burning desire. But if you haven't read that book, let me bring you up to speed. The burning desire is basically exactly what it sounds like. It is an incessant need to acquire something or to experience something. I'm going to give you an example from my own life. A few days ago, I was leaving the gym, and I live in the Netherlands right now. If you don't know anything about the Netherlands, this is a very humble country. There aren't a lot of showy people, so I don't really get a chance to see things, materially speaking at least, which inspire me very often. But on this particular day, I left the gym, and as I was biking away to film a video, I saw somebody driving an Audi R8. I don't know what year it was. It was probably a 2017, 2018 model. It seemed like the previous generation, but it was dark gray, black wheels, and the sound that it was making was just absolutely menacing. Just idling in the parking lot of the gym, it was absolutely menacing. And in that moment, I received a sudden influx, a sudden burst of motivation that literally brought me back to why I started this journey in the first place. The reason why I started this journey of learning about how people become successful was because I wanted to be successful so that I could get cars like that, so that I could live in the kind of house that I want to live in, that I wouldn't be restricted in the life that I build for myself, at least financially speaking. That was how I started my journey, was with a burning desire for that. And let me tell you, I went back to this room right after, and I proceeded to spend the next 2 to 3 hours filming. 2 to 3 hours. Was it tiring? Absolutely. But I didn't care. Because I told myself, I made a silent agreement with myself when I saw that car, that I'm going to do whatever it takes within my moral boundaries to get a car like that. That's not even my dream car. I don't even have that particular car on my vision board. But literally just anything in that range, just something exotic, something high end. I have a burning desire for the finer things in life. I want material things. And it's okay to want material things. If you're watching a video like this, the chances are you probably want that too. Maybe you're not into cars, maybe you're into fashion, or maybe you like high-end architecture. I don't know. But the chances are you have some sort of burning desire for something material. But not only the thing that's material, the feelings that come from that. You see, the car itself isn't what I want. That's not what I have the burning desire for. What I have the burning desire for is the feelings that I'll feel once I drive off the lot in a car like that, knowing that I just bought that car in cash, fully paid for, and it is mine. And I did it. Didn't win the lottery, didn't get a loan from somebody. I made it happen. That is the feeling that I want. That is the feeling that drives me every single day. No pun intended. That's the feeling that drives me every day to make videos like this, even when I don't really want to. I would rather be watching Netflix right now. But the burning desire is so consuming that even when I've tried to take breaks from YouTube, when I've tried to even quit YouTube in the past, I couldn't. I couldn't sleep peacefully at night because I have this burning desire. And no matter how much I try to suppress it, I cannot suppress it. Just like trying to suppress a fire, especially a big fire, a strong fire, is futile. Trying to suppress that burning desire that comes from the pits of your soul is a futile task to undertake. So instead of trying to suppress it, feed it. Feed that fire, because every successful person has that fire within them, and at some point along the way, they made a choice to start feeding the fire instead of trying to suppress it. Now, because they have the burning desire, the next trait that all successful people have is that they are easily motivated. Now, before I go any further into this point, I just want to make a quick public announcement. I've never made an apology video, at least if my memory serves me correctly, but that's going to change today. I'm sorry. I apologize for leading you astray, because in the past, I have made countless videos saying that discipline was superior to motivation. And truthfully, I stand by what I said in those videos. Discipline is superior to motivation because discipline is a decision that you can make. Motivation is a feeling that comes and goes. But what I've come to realize, especially recently, is that it's not that successful people are just more disciplined than unsuccessful people. While that is true, that they are more disciplined by and large, it's also true that they tend to be more easily motivated. A lot of people would have seen that Audi R8 and it wouldn't have moved them at all. Not because they're not into cars, but because they don't get easily motivated by things because they don't have the burning desire within them. Which, by the way, I forgot to mention earlier, this burning desire usually, more often than not, stems from a place of lack. It almost invariably comes from a sense of lack deep within your heart, within your soul, and it's something that you're constantly trying to compensate for through the acquisition of not only the material things, but the feelings that come with them. But for successful people, something that I've become acutely aware of recently is that successful people will see that car, or they'll see that house, they'll see the nice neighborhood, they'll see the person with the really nice body, and they get inspired by that. A lot of people, if they don't feel neutral about it, if it moves them at all, it moves them into a negative emotional space. Instead of getting inspired or motivated, they become resentful, they become bitter, because when they see the person driving the Audi R8, when they see the really, really muscular person flexing in the mirror, they see the potential that they themselves are not reaching. They see all of their unfulfilled potential being expressed through someone else, and they resent that person for it. Why do they do that? Truthfully, I don't know, and I don't care, because I'm not one of those people, and I don't intend on becoming one of them. But successful people don't have that kind of response to success. They see these objects, they see these people who are ahead of them, conventionally speaking, as inspiration. They see them as people who inspire them. Even if those people aren't necessarily successful in the particular path they've chosen, they still see them as motivational, inspirational figures. So you need to cultivate within yourself, if you haven't already, the ability to be easily motivated. And the only way that you can do that is by becoming a big dreamer, which is the next trait that all successful people share. They are all big dreamers. They're all big dreamers. Before anything happens in your actual reality, in your external world, it must first occur in here. You have to see it here first before it can occur out there. This camera that I'm filming on, the screen that you're watching this on, all of these things were just visions in other people's minds at one point or another. But then they turned these visions into reality because they were big dreamers. Imagine trying to explain the concept of this YouTube video to somebody in the 1950s. They literally didn't even have the context to comprehend something like this because they were much smaller minded than people now are. Now, it doesn't matter how skeptical of a person you are. You can't deny the existence of YouTube because you literally see it every day. It's here. But for most people, they have to see it to believe it. Successful people understand that you have to believe it in order to see it. And when you allow yourself to dream big, when you give yourself permission to want the things that you actually want, when you give yourself permission to want the Ferrari and the Rolls Royce, when you give yourself permission to want the house in Beverly Hills, when you give yourself permission to want to travel the whole entire world in luxury, in style, when you give yourself permission to want those things, you become easily motivated. You cultivate the burning desire within you. You're feeding the fire instead of trying to suppress it. And again, from there, motivation is a natural consequence because you understand that this car, this Audi R8 in this parking lot of the Basic Fit in the Netherlands is not an isolated incident. This is a real, legitimate possibility. And once you understand that something's possible, and you give yourself permission to believe that it's possible for you in particular, you become an action taker. And that is the next trait that all successful people have, is they are all action takers. Why are they action takers? They're action takers because they have a burning desire, they are easily motivated, they're big dreamers, and when you understand that you're allowed to want something that may even seem unrealistic to other people, then naturally you're going to pursue it. In the same way that you wanting to watch this video led to you clicking on it, a successful person sees that car and says, I'm going to take the actions necessary in order to make that happen for myself. And you may not even know what those actions are yet, but a lot of times you have to take the first step before the path begins to reveal itself to you. A lot of people, they get caught up waiting for further instructions because that's how they're conditioned. That's how we're conditioned through the schooling system and through society as a whole. We're conditioned to wait for other people to give us directions. Successful people don't do that. Successful people take those first steps even when they don't know where they're going yet. Even when the path itself is nowhere in sight. They understand that in order for the path to reveal itself, you have to start walking first. They take action, and they don't just take action, they take massive action. Massive, massive action. Why do they take massive action? Because they have a burning desire. When you just want something, when you want French fries, you might just go to McDonald's and get French fries. But when you have a burning desire for French fries, when you have a burning desire for food because you're starving, you might be willing to kill somebody in order to get the food that they have. Because you have a burning desire. I'm not saying you need to kill somebody to go and get your dream car. That's not the message that I want you to take away from this video. But what I am saying is that there is a lot of credence to what the motivational speaker Eric Thomas, shout out to him, said in his most famous video, How Bad Do You Want Success? In that video, he says, you have to want success as badly as you want to breathe. That's how bad you have to want it. You have to have that kind of burning desire to where the obsession about success literally becomes a natural byproduct. And from there, the massive action is literally the natural next step. Now, if you have these traits, or if you don't have these traits, but you want to acquire these traits so that you can become successful and bring the vision that you have in your mind into fruition and live the life that you came here to live, then click the link in my description so that you can learn more about my brand new life coaching program, where I will help guide you from where you are to where you want to go in life, wherever that may be. Right now, I'm only letting in 20 people this week because I'm only one guy and I can only help so many people in a direct setting like that. But if you want to work directly with me, then click the link in the description so that you can get all of the information that I've gotten over these past 6 years within the next 6 to 12 months.